Evolutionary theories. Charles Darwin, 1809 to 1882, but savages the weak in body or mind are soon eliminated. We civilized men, the other hand, do our utmost to check the process of elimination. There is reason to believe that vaccination has preserved thousands, who from a weak constitution would formerly have succumbed to smallpox. Plus, weak members of civilized society propagate their kind. No one who has attended to the breeding of domestic animals will doubt that this must be highly injurious in the race of men. Herbert Spencer, 1820 to 1903, if a single cell, under appropriate conditions, becomes a man in the space of a few years, there can surely be no difficulty in understanding how, under appropriate conditions, cell may, in the course of untold millions of years, give origin to the human race. Physical fitness has played its role in human endurance through natural disasters, plagues, disease, along with the physical ability to use the tools and weapons we create. Modern humans have not been the dominant species on the planet because of physical fitness. Modern humans do not have practical force, speed, strength, and climbing ability, legitimate fangs or claws. Intellect appears as the primary source of natural selection in the evolution of modern humans. Without intellect we would not have survived ice ages and other predators. Our birth rate and maturation period take too much time to have used numbers as a means of overwhelming the loss due to predation. Medical procedures and medicine have kept people alive that natural processes would have taken. Monogamy and social services have given the physically and mentally weaker human the same breeding privileges as the stronger, wiser, and or more intelligent human. Often those dependent on welfare due to an apparent inability to survive on their own are rewarded with extra help when they have more children. Getting paid to have children reminds us of Nazi programs. Wars with indiscriminate bombings kill without regard to evolutionarily beneficial individual health, intelligence, or wisdom. The gun and other modern weaponry have made it possible for weaker and or less intelligent humans to kill or fend off stronger and or more intelligent humans. The ability of a small minority of relatively useless humans to print, control and distribute currency in a capital-based society props them up as the almighty rulers of capitalism where left in nature they would perish. Modern societies often run contrary on many levels to the natural selective processes of our forebears and the rest of nature. This natural selection struggle with monogamy and other factor contributing to the dissolution of the family unit along with financial slavery to the status of the individual and their financiers, consumerism, as much as the market will bear need for a two-income family, mechanistically immoral use or abuse of capitalist principles, feminism, chauvinism, the overt and covert war between the sexes, pornography, media, marketing, boredom, nuclear weapons and unmanned warcrafts minimizing the need for large military personnel, divide and rule/conquer social engineering, physical, mental, and spiritual degeneration of the individual and culture, a wide variety of other social illnesses. Can a society allow natural selection without sacrificing its humanity? Could we allow one strong man or genius to have unlimited wives while weak or dumb men have none? Could all the healthy and only the healthy women choose to breed with only the best men at any time they choose to have a child regardless of who they were married to, as is the case in much of nature? We have accepted that it is not a good idea to breed with our immediate family due to a higher rate of genetic defects. There are laws in many areas that prevent marriage and or breeding with family members. Not breeding with immediate family members is one of the earliest forms of genetic engineering in humans. Could public opinion of genetically defective persons breeding reach the common acceptance that breeding with our immediate family currently holds? Probability of two genetically defective persons giving birth to a genetically defective child may be greater than if two genetically healthy family members had children, yet one is condoned, supported, and, more often than not, financed by socialist welfare programs and or engineering while the other is condemned. Could we ever allow someone to die because it was a natural process to keep the gene pool healthy, strong, and or smart while knowing that there was a cure available? Is the denial of natural selection and or survival of the fittest having negative effects on the overall health of humanity as generation after generation devolves physically and mentally? Can we view abortion and contraceptives as forms of selective breeding? Could we mute the reproductive processes of so-called mentally and physically defective humans so that they cannot breed while allowing them the pleasure of sex and other freedoms? Could we sterilize those with mental and physical defects at birth? Could we sterilize those dependent on social services and or charities? Unrepentant criminals. Could we test our children to the age of puberty and sterilize those who fail before they are able to breed? Could we then sterilize any defective character traits that expose themselves in adulthood? Should those who do not want children be sterilized? Could we stop supporting and cheering mental and physical defectives that perform simple activities that average humans take for granted? Could we or would we breed laborers, craftspersons, leaders, intellectuals, warriors, and others for specific functions in society as we have done with pets and farm animals? Should we issue only strictly enforced breeding licenses to those who meet the acceptable standards? If you have ever had the terrifying experience of being within hearing range of a child screaming with horror from extreme neglect or abuse by defective parents, will at that moment agree or at least consider only allowing parents that mentally and emotionally fit to become parents? If we were purely rational scientific beings without gods and religions and their involved morality, would that compel us to be obedient to the laws of nature? If God is not in charge of human evolution, should humans take control of this role as gods deciding who should live, die, breed, etc.? Would it be better for the healthy to regulate the amount of mouths to feed to avoid malfusion traps? Would humanity be better if we aligned ourselves with natural selection by creating tests for parenthood? Could we eliminate poverty by eliminating the weak? Would we maximize wars if we bred only the strong? Could we minimize global warming, deforestation and overcrowding by establishing a global population maximum combined with selective breeding? Could a society decide at birth, as the Spartans are said to have done, who will live and who will die to obtain superior genetics? Will decline and eventual destruction of a scientifically advanced people be natural selection's revenge on the society that denies it, or is there some value in breeding backward or sideways? If a higher level of humanity were bred as the standard human, would we then continue to raise the standards of selection indefinitely, forever increasing the standards of human evolution to levels that would have those that were selected during an earlier time no longer acceptable for reproduction later, in a similar manner that the theory of evolution is said to proceed with the development of life forms? We surely turn away with disgust at some of the ethnic cleansing, genocide and genetic mapping laid out by the Nazis, racist black Muhammadans, Arabist Muhammadans, Mohammedan global jihad in general, KKK, Jewish chosen people supremacists, white, black, Oriental, Spanish, Arabic, etc. nationalistic supremacists, those that believe all humans will eventually become a shade of brown between black and white whether we want it or not, those entering the biblical promised land, American invaders such as the Spanish, French, English, etc., manifest destiny's justifications to exterminate the American Indians, the ideologies and genocides of other racists in the past and the present. Who would be the model for this so-called ideal human? Would it be beauty or strength or intelligence or health or charm or coping or behavior and slash or social skills or the ability to live in harmoniously loving union with all or a combination of traits? Who would be the dictatorial genetic alchemist in charge of this process? Athlete or physically fit would argue that physical prowess was to be placed as a priority as in many animal species. The genius would explain why intellect is more important than the body and that civilized man would not exist without large brains. Beauty has a way of finding itself at the top of a selection heap of many societies. The overall health advocate would describe its benefits to all aspects of the human being and chose health as the peak selection guide. Beauty in human form is not very functional or not functional at all and often uniquely selective to regions, races, and slash or classes of humans. Is beauty the prize of a peaking civilization or is it a natural representative of something special in the evolutionary process of humanity? Beauty is often accompanied by weakness in mind and slash or body. Is beauty connected with our primary goal of harmonious loving union with all? Person in loving harmony is likely to be at their most beautiful or as beautiful as they can be. Cosmetic alterations have contributed to an illusory corruption of whatever anthropological or evolutionary benefits natural beauty may offer humanity. It seems nearly impossible to think that a modern society of the early 21st century would align itself with natural selection or survival of the fittest. Will overpopulation force humanity to make some of these decisions or make proposals like China's model of one child per family, which is not in alignment with natural selection? Is there a way to incorporate beneficial aspects of natural selection into society that will be agreeable to all of humanity? Sterilization and elimination may sound horrific to the stage of humanity's development, yet at some time in the future, humanity may be forced into making decisions like these to moderate or eradicate disease, dependency, criminality, overpopulation, or resource conflicts, humans ruling humans, etc. Belief that evolutionary processes such as random mutations, natural selection, survival of the fittest, etc. have no thought behind them or direction from a creator is an educated guess like the idea that the activities of humans have no thought behind them because we cannot prove a thought. Most of us have personal experiences that suggest or confirm our belief that many of our activities are directed by our own conscious thought and effort. Many people have personal experience with creativity that suggests or confirms to them that there is an underlying creative process at work in the rest of nature. Even some of the greatest ideas and inventions are often labeled as having been given to the persons being credited. Humans can successfully breed many varieties of plants and animals through consciously selecting the characteristics of those plants and animals that they wish to succeed. Then why is it difficult to see the possibility that the source or creator of human consciousness and selective breeding capabilities would be monitoring and selecting all varieties of humans, plants, and animals as fitting options for their environments rather than jumping to the conclusion that this process has no guide in the omniverse/God process of natural selection says that nature or the omniverse is God. Most, not all human creative processes involved with the developmental phases of human progress have gone through trial and error periods like the theories of random mutation and natural selection. Whenever we seek to improve medicines, machinery, flight, philosophies, theories, communication, marketing, sales, performance, structure, etc. We try one possibility and then another until we are satisfied with the new standard. Sometimes the proverbial waste paper basket is overflowing with theories that did not work at all or as well as the current model. Many individuals have tried countless varieties of solutions to survival, comfort, communication, amusement, and convenience before achieving the modern technological advancements that we take for granted today. If humans can select better options from among potentially unlimited possibilities, then the omniverse/God as the source of human creativity, trial, and selection, can at least be considered as the prime mover in what science believes is natural selection and random mutation. Addiction. Jonathan Swift, 1667 to 1745. When men grow virtuous in their old age, they are merely making a sacrifice to God of the devil's leavings. Hunger is the cause of most crime, whether that hunger is for food, water, security, attention, status, resources, wealth, love, power, sex, or any other human desire taken, manipulated or coerced beyond or below natural satisfaction. Many of us are raised in families, societies, or environments that pass on or generate mental, emotional, physical and/or spiritual disturbances, which in turn generate internal toxins. Most of us are born as sensitive and loving babies. As we grow and are forced into schools and other social settings not necessarily conducive to loving harmony while trying to process faulty parenting, we learn to harden or hide our loving sensitivity. We thicken our emotional skin due to the hurts and pains that come from faulty interactions with our peers, the indifferent, and antagonists as they unconsciously act out their rebellion for having been forced into these situations. Parents and their parents apply their unaddressed and unhealed dysfunction to or on a child's early and later development and are major contributors to the child's dysfunction while at home. Over generations, these physiological causes and symptoms of dysfunction are continuously passed on, to breed more mental dysfunction and physiological breakdown in the future. As we age, these emotional and physiological toxins need release, processing and/or medication. We often release these toxins in ways that pass them on to our children, co-workers, classmates, and society in general. When we use medications, legal and illegal, for escape, we retard our spirits and neglect ourselves and others while not learning how to process our feelings of guilt, shame, anger, resentment, fear, lust, purpose, nerve damage, etc., in a healthy manner. We simply try to bury or ignore them. If there is someone around that can teach the disturbed spirit/consciousness in the body how to process the feelings and actions responsible for the disturbance in a healthy way, then the problem will not deeply affect the individual or the society. Tobacco, opium, and crack cocaine smoking are some of the most powerful addictions known to humans because they enter directly into and stimulate the love center through the lungs and are used to forcefully open breathing/love restrictions for many that live with conscious or unconscious suffocation. Most, not all the highly addictive drugs produce short-term feelings closely associated with harmonious loving union with all but are toxic and costly on many levels immediately or long-term. This comes from personal experience. Many children grow up seeking social power as a means of shoring up their real or imagined inadequacies. Seeking to love and be loved, along with the emotional roller coaster ride involved in this seeking, plays a major role in the addictive process. Drugs, alcohol, promiscuity, competitions, greed, etc. are fragmentary and faulty substitutes for pure harmonious loving union with the omniverse/God. When someone learns by accident or from other addicts, cult leaders, or psychiatrists, to medicate their ill feelings and/or genetically inherited chemical imbalances and/or bury their confused consciousness caused by fear, dishonesty, secrets, guilt, shame, resentment, depression, etc., with some drug or disturbing behavior, then certain associations begin to take root. Each time the negative chemistry or chemical imbalance caused by these ill feelings, thoughts, and memories are produced or relived, the individual automatically reaches for the cigarette, alcohol, heroin, vice, sex object, violence, abuse of power, etc. to appease the disturbance. When the associations of ill feelings, thoughts, memories with medications, legal and illegal become deeply rooted and unresolved feelings, thoughts, and memories begin to accumulate over time, then craving and dependency take hold. Body can also come under the lash of physical addiction to an external person, place, thing, or activity, with the generation of its own chemical secretions as in gambling, relationships, violence, religions, dance, following and participation in sports, cults, dangerous acts, and specific troubled neighborhoods. If the medication used is toxic, this individual will be in a suicidal grip of self-induced destructive escapism. In many cases this will be a conscious or unconscious suicidal downward cycle affecting not only the individual but also most of those that interact with them in the future. In the heat of severe addiction, spirit in the body is pushed and pulled, dragged, and beaten from within like a ship in a violent storm. This spirit or consciousness has a hard time being at peace within the body and starts to seek relief through any means available. Removal of alcohol and or drugs from the addict's life will not by itself eliminate the underlying problems. The underlying physical, mental, emotional, and or spiritual disturbances or perversities are the source of addictive behavior. When these underlying sources are healed, the addict has a chance of living a relatively normal life without the need for destructive chemicals and or behavior. Many of our memories have emotions and their chemical secretions attached to them. When we remember something from our past, we may also feel whatever feelings are still associated with the memory. If unresolved negative memories accumulate with much negative emotional and often toxic chemical discharges, then our present will be constantly contaminated, disturbed, or haunted by this past, even when things appear wonderful on the surface in our present. Even positive memories that are clung to as an escape from the present are suspect and should be properly placed in the lives of the loving. These historical disturbances associated with memories that have accumulated throughout the lifetime of the individual must be healed within if there is to be inner peace. Acceptance of what cannot or should not be changed. Faith, willingness to change for the better, complete honesty or confession, communication, restitution, love, and forgiveness, or simply aligning ourselves with our innate desire for harmonious loving union with all, are tools to help create this peace with Christ. Each memory can have its entire negative emotional charge erased and changed, replacing them with healthier feelings or neutral ones. Simply re-experience the memory with love, humor, harmony, compassion, etc. in the present. Associate healthier emotions with all memories. Look at your past with love. Change the Pandora's box of ill emotions associated with memories into loving emotions. Addictions are faulty attempts by our being to achieve harmonious love. Harmonious love is the solution to negative addictions. Jesus' message from God, for God. Loving God with all our faculties is the answer to individual, social, and global negative addictions, and the primary positive factor for healing all our world's human-made problems. Universal love is the best solution for negative addictions. After cleansing the memories of their poison, new associations are learned, and routine spiritual or psychological maintenance is continuously applied to keep the spiritual or psychological trash from accumulating to repoison the present and or future. Continuous daily or moment-to-moment dedication to universal love will keep us tuned into love while clearing the negatives. Addictions to negative chemistry from toxic emotions can start or re-emerge without grounding ourselves in love. In the absence of love, humans seeking meaning in their lives can gravitate towards and get addicted to anger, hatred, guilt, shame, anxiety, depression, jealousy, stress, drama, adversity, violence/sadism, masochism, power, control, popularity, etc. as perverse forms of meaning. Simple spiritual or psychological principles are being used as a means and an end of almost all addictions through revised emotional, psychological, slash or spiritual associations, and could in theory be used for all of them. They are being used to cure some of the deadliest addictive behaviors known to humanity. Love is the ultimate solution. It would appear true to say that if the addicts themselves were raised with these principles of loving harmony with all in the omniverse or God, living them from birth, then addictive patterns would not have started. If the individual learned to process feelings through these principles, would be no ill feelings to mitigate, with possible exceptions around genetic predispositions for chemical imbalances due to glandular dysfunctions and nerve damage. This logic would place a higher priority on spiritual/psychological principles developed for individual and social lubrication and harmony than or opposed to the current militarized indoctrinations of the economically useful citizen or corporate governmentally obedient slave development through math, language, history, and science as compelled courses to be studied, learned and practiced for cog-like integration into the machine of most industrialized and high-technical societies ruled by unproductive slave-dependent money, control, and power people. It would be interesting to postpone graduation from the School of Social Harmony if a student did not know how to forgive, were dishonest or unloving, did not fully understand their innate, atomically charged spiritual/energy relationship with all things, was irrationally violent, and/or were not ready, willing, or able to merge harmoniously in loving union with the rest of humanity and nature in the omniverse/spirit of God. Love education is the replacement for the punitive systems of the world. Chemical balance. Bodies of so-called living things can be viewed as a symphony of chemical processes, actions and/or reactions. The scientific version of the beginning of life on Earth is said to have come about through a combination of elements combined and reacting under the right environmental conditions. In the biblical God created all things version, there was also a constant interplay of chemical interactions and reactions. So-called living things act and react to external and internal stimuli and the resultant chemical alterations within them. Life is a constant balancing act of internal chemistry and/or particle interchange. All the sense organs involved, hearing, sight, taste, touch, and scent, are used to perceive our world through particle and/or chemical interchange. All our non-perceptive organs function with or through similar particle and/or chemical interchange. The internal chemistry of the human body can be thrown out of balance in many ways. Poison, alcohol, cocaine, mescaline, caffeine, erroneous medications, and other external chemicals and/or drugs ingested can cause a chemical imbalance within the body. Fine sugars, proper sodium, vitamin and mineral deficiencies/excesses, devitalized processed foods, thirst, hunger, overeating, undereating. Correct proportional intake of even healthy foods such as only eating grapes or corn and other nutritional varieties can cause imbalance. Dysfunctional sleep, excessive amounts of work, stress, exercise, and other activities or lack of activity can cause a chemical imbalance. Anger, resentment, jealousy, greed, overstimulated and then suspended, conflicted, or repressed lust, fear, guilt, shame, embarrassment, etc. can cause chemical imbalance in the body and mind. Diminished functioning of glands and organs within the individual due to old age, faulty nutrition, heredity, injury, and/or other causes may play another role in contributing to this imbalanced being. Any one of these chemical imbalances can trigger additional disturbances that will also cause further chemical imbalances and leave the unsuspecting person clueless as to why or where the chemical imbalance began. Crashing from sugar, alcohol, or addictive drugs may promote anger, which may lead to actions that cause guilt, which may lead to depression, which may lead back to the sugar or addictive drugs. When a human is incapable or unaware of a chemical imbalance within, there is often a substitute for balance that is likely to cause more problems. Chemical imbalance can become so ingrained and familiar in the body and mind that we feel as though the imbalance is the way things are supposed to be. Anger, rage, depression, mania, fear, and other chemical imbalances can and do become a form of chemical dependency due to familiarity, lack of appropriate alternatives, and slash or the illusory fulfillment of purpose that these disturbed physiological and slash or emotional states appear to provide. Some of us learn to substitute greed, anger, competition, gossip, lust, jealousy, alcohol, drugs, power, fame, etc. for loving harmony which cause deeper and slash or chronic hungers within. Satisfying these perverse hungers provides what appears to be a sense of purpose or meaning in the life of the individual. These perversities appear to be more powerful than emptiness. Chemical imbalance is the symptom of a cause. Punitive system seeks to correct symptoms. Psychiatry often treats the symptoms with chemicals that balance these imbalances. There is a high probability that removing the causes for the imbalance will remove the imbalance. Medications that treat the symptoms may have a place in the lives of individuals who are unwilling or incapable of changing their lifestyle or habits or in cases of glandular failure. Medicating symptoms is no legitimate resting place for a society's research and the evolution of humanity. May be simplistic to say that, when you are hungry you can eat something healthy to satisfy the hunger. When you are thirsty you can drink something healthy like clean water to satisfy the thirst. When in fear have faith or remove/escape from the threat. When greedy, have enough. When wrong forgive. When overworked slow down. When tired sleep. When troubled by the burden of living with disturbed memories, secrets, or skeletons of the past. Tell a safe someone all these secrets and find relief. When we are ensnared by a negative psychological, emotional, or physiological association with an imbalanced human condition as the only condition that we are familiar with. There are many ways to break these cycles and start living free in the euphoria of harmonious love and peace. Harmonious loving union with the omniverse/God is the standard of chemical balance. When a human is not in this euphoric condition they are said to be chemically imbalanced. The entire natural and or spiritual evolutionary history of humanity is a search or drive for harmonious loving union with all. The search for truth is also a search for harmony. If we hold harmonious loving union with the omniverse or loving God with all our faculties as the inherent chemically balanced state and natural ideal that it is, then we will know when we are imbalanced and will want to return to this balanced state whenever we are out of it. When omniversal love and harmony or loving God with all our faculties is our guide to living we will be interested in the psychological and or spiritual principles outlined here or by Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, and others. Not only will we be interested in these principles, but we will also comprehend their value and function. Human-made laws and their enforcement from outside will no longer be necessary because the individual will be guided by their own inner instincts for omniversal love and harmony with all people, places, things and will do whatever it takes to achieve and maintain this loving union without intentionally violating others or the environment. Nutrition. Never in recorded history has humanity had access to such an abundance of healthy foods while at the same time and in the same grocery store such an abundance of sterile and toxic foods. Although carnivores are contesting these standard nutritional guidelines because of the natural protections in vegetables, fresh fruits and vegetables, some vegetables may release their nutrition more favorably through heating. Wild fish and game or organic free-range domestic flesh or little or no animal products at all. Clean fresh air, if it can be found. Clean fresh water, if it can be found. Balanced sunshine are said to be or may be some of the physiological elements for an ideal life in an ideal setting. These ideals are not always possible in more remote areas on this planet or in cities. It appears to be unrealistic for the Eskimo to have fresh fruit and vegetables throughout the year, although they have great natural freezing capabilities. Desert dweller would also have some difficulty keeping certain foods fresh as opposed to dry. City dwellers' air will not be the best. Poor would be included in the stress group if they were expected to live on fresh organic foods in a city environment when the prices make them impractical for their budget. The availability of any food in some regions of the world is also an issue. Choice between starving to death or white rice gruel may be the only choice or not much of a choice. Many foods that are canned, dried, chemically preserved, frozen, salted and preserved by other man-made methods are currently depended upon by large civilizations as a security measure or in some cases everyday food. Chaos might reign if only perishable foods were available for consumption without preservation techniques for such a large global population. Human body, especially when young and healthy, has an almost unbelievable ability to remove all or most of the chemicals used to preserve modern foods. All the work digesting this chemical cocktail combined with the deadness from cooking, drying and time-worn preservative suspension weakens the body and mind. Empty calories without vital living nutrients means that the body is often overworked and underfed because of extra effort during and from digestion. The effects of this chronic degeneration are not as evident in the young and the very healthy due to their ability to process. In amoral capitalist societies where the dollar is more important than the best nutrition, unless there is a market for it as in the high-end and expensive organics, the physical and mental faculties of humanity will decline. It is apparent that devitalized foods and other profitable taste-based poisons of industry and business have contributed to the decline in mental and physical health in the populations where this criminal activity has been deceptively marketed as something desirable through marketing deceptions by entrepreneurial greed. A stroll down the condiment aisle in any grocery store will reveal another clue to the degeneration of the human sense organs in commercialized nations of the new millennium. Almost everything the modern commercialized consumer eats needs or already has additives like salt, pepper, sugar, ketchup, mustard, mayonnaise, spices, barbecue sauce, salad dressing, and a wide variety of other quasi-natural and lab-created tools of taste manipulation. The clues of national and international nutritional deficiencies, obesity, a decline in health show us that much of this generation will be handing the reins of power and or civilization over to the robust barbarian avoiding or unexposed to the marketer's hypnosis. Fruit and nuts may be viewed as nature's gifts and often designed by nature to be eaten for seed dispersal throughout the land. If you stand under a fruit tree, fruit will drop into your open hand if you are agile and patient. Most, if not all vegetables have to be killed, dug up, torn or cut from the plant or the earth to harvest. Unfertilized eggs might also be considered gifts without killing. Animals that die of natural causes could be put in this gift category, although the disease risks of this food source may outweigh the benefits at times. Cooking may help with the disease factor in these cases. Living plants absorb solar light energy. While they are alive or fresh, you can visually see this vibrant energy and taste it. As the fruit or vegetable decays before, during or after harvest, this energetic vibrancy begins to fade as microorganisms and other creatures feed on the life-giving light energy. Solar light energy is converted into and or combined with minerals, vitamins, and proteins that we consume. Cooked, processed, and or preserved foods have this vitality diminished partly or wholly so that those who ingest this dying food receive less of this light energy and are therefore less physically, mentally and spiritually vital than they could be. Observe the difference between rotten, dried and fresh fruit or cooked and live leaf greens. Although the speedier particle motion in heated food amplifies the taste or taste bud interactions, we lose nutritional value at times. Place your hand on a hot stove and leave it there for 5 minutes to see what happens to the mobility and vitality of living flesh when it is cooked or burnt. Just a thought provocation. Do not do it. Many of us prefer dead food as a sedative. Dead food is opium for industrialized nations with excessive human law. We prefer unconsciousness and sleep to rich vitality and high-minded awareness. We want to fit in with the rest of society and drown the awareness of our lives as slaves to the demands of others in almost every activity we are involved. It appears to be easier to deaden our minds and bodies in the confines of our litigious straitjackets than to earnestly seek a better form of society. We live in a world that gives and sometimes forces medication on overly active or creative children/persons while public opinion exerts constant pressure to conform upon those who appear to have more energy than normal to keep all citizens within certain controllable boundaries. If we drink coffee, we create a chemical imbalance in the body. If we ingest refined sugar, excess salt, alcohol, tobacco, etc., or only eat certain types of foods with the exclusion of others, we will create chemical imbalances. If we work too much, worry too much, exercise too much or not enough, we will create chemical imbalances. Many of these chemical imbalances are now being treated through pharmaceutical remedies, while their solution is simply learning and applying a healthier or more balanced way of living and eating. Many allergies are nutritionally based and can be eliminated through nutritional remedies. There are some very talented civilizations on this planet, but it is certain that if a large percentage of the population were to devote time, creativity, and energy to the minimization of negative food preservation methods and the increase of more health-giving foods, could eliminate much of the mental, emotional, and physical illnesses and deficiencies that are epidemic in this modern age. Deceptive marketing and sales of junk food is a crime against humanity. Obesity does not happen from drinking too much clean water or eating too many raw fruits and vegetables. Businesses that provide nutritional poisons for economic gain are to be placed in the same category as terrorists, drug dealers/smugglers/cartels, and abusive dictators. Failing to take care of our community and our individual selves, mentally, emotionally, physically, nutritionally and/or spiritually is an act of irresponsibility. This negligence of self not only costs us as individuals but every living thing that the negligent individual needs. Societies that do not provide affordable/available versions of all that is needed for the self-care are uncivilized. We can lead a junk food junkie to organics. We cannot make them eat. We can lead an alcoholic to a place for recovery, but we cannot keep them sober without their willingness and commitment to change their lives from the inside and out. Society will have to change while health is increasing. Individual will want to have some motivation for vibrant health and full awareness. If the world they live in is filled with strife, noise, crime, abuse, toil, boredom, excessively restrictive laws and suffocative public opinion, then this individual will want alcohol, medication, and dead food. If on the other hand the social setting allows and promotes vitality while providing legitimate reasons to awaken fully, then more people will be concerned with healthy food as one of the elements involved in being the best human that they can be and remain eager to participate in one of the best societies in recorded history. Life and death. Throughout the generally assumed history of life on this planet, most living things have had their bodies consumed by or have consumed the bodies of other living things to survive. They have been killed by what is often called violence, natural disasters, and old age. Dinosaurs ate other dinosaurs' bodies. Microbes eat other microbes' bodies. Flies, maggots, and other insects join in the consumption of the decaying carcass with the vulture, hyena, and other scavengers. Lions kill and eat zebra, buffalo, wildebeest, and gazelle bodies that dismember and eat parts of the bodies of living plants and are in turn eaten by other living things. Human flesh is composed of many other plants and animals that have been killed and eaten throughout a person's lifetime and likely will become part of the composition of other creatures. Fish eat other fish and are in turn eaten by other fish and creatures. Snakes eat mice, birds, frogs, other snakes, and other animals. Worms become the robin. Eucalyptus leaves become the koala. If I have not listed enough examples here, will give you my phone number and we can clarify this point further. The death of all living things is most often life for another. Bodies of most living creatures will be eaten or absorbed by some other living creature on our planet, including your body. Some are trying to eat it now. Others kill many living things. Even what is commonly called death by natural causes is often death by another creature invading and eating or parasitizing its host. Most of, if not all bodies not cremated, frozen, deeply embalmed, will be part of some other creature, after they die and are currently composed of the elements of or from many other creatures. According to common sense and scientifically based historical data, physical bodies of all animals have always died and will probably continue to die in the future. Old age appears to be the body's exhaustion from years of perpetual dissipations of the pleasures and pains of living, partying, struggling, defending against foreign invaders and microorganisms that try to take over the host body. Body as a battery-like energy storage cell that can no longer hold a charge. Human body is a territorial battleground between health and disease or life and death. Disease and or death have apparently always won this battle for the physical body eventually. These lifelong foes have yet to be vanquished for or by our physical bodies. As of this editing in 2025, they can only be held in check for a lifetime. Eternal life, although possible because the energy/spirit we are composed of does not die, has not been found on Earth for commonly known living things except possibly at a particle level or omniversal energy or the Spirit of God. Most or all our body's current cells are not the same as they were 10 years ago and will not be the same years from now. The compositions of our bodies will die and be born again many times throughout its lifespan. Our first, second, third, and 10th-year-old bodies are gone. We have new bodies. Every time humans dance upon or walk through the grass or anywhere other than the most sterile environments, they are killing uncountable living things. Something will eat the remains of those creatures killed by this unconscious romantic romp. Human body is constantly killing foreign invaders until the defense system wears out. Healthier the human body, more foreign invaders are killed by those bodies. This makes the healthiest and most sanctimonious, nutritionally pure humans some of the greatest mass murderers alive today. The longer they live, higher the body count. Even the most conscientious organic farming of vegetables, turns over, walks upon, drives over soil, which kills many living things. For most creatures that live a full life, there are uncountable creatures that will and must perish. For every human saint or sinner, breatharian, fruitarian, vegetarian, carnivore, or omnivore that lives, there will be an uncountable and diverse trail of death among germs, microorganisms, insects, plants, animals, etc. There is no getting around the fact that no matter how virtuous you think you are for not killing overtly, will always be a mass murderer if you are alive. Any life that is taken for another to live has been destined to die since birth by the same or another means, regardless of its protection from the most compassionate of beings. Some humans in general have become overly sensitive to the death of other humans and animals for irrational reasons. Omnivores, God, nature, or creation has been functioning well with life and death as far back in time as we currently imagine, with apparently no change in the overall composition of energy or spirit. The omniversal energy or spirit of God does not die, continues living in multiple forms. Nature, death happens, energy or spirit move into other forms and life goes on. Jesus says in Matthew 10:28, "And do not be afraid of those who kill the body but cannot kill the soul. Rather, be afraid of the one who can destroy both soul and body in Gehenna." Does the accumulation of memories contribute to the limit of human life by exhausting the limit of brain storage like computers running out of RAM? Are we given a clean slate at birth without memories of a past life or lives? They exist, so that we can live a full human lifespan within the limitations of memory or brain storage capabilities. Apparently, we live amid infinite space in all directions. Our world and life are relatively minute in relation to this vastness. There is a high probability that our coming and going on this earth will not have any significant impact on the infinite omniverse one way or the other. Apparently, if an asteroid or nuclear war destroys the Earth completely, the omniverse/God would not be altered much other than an imaginary butterfly effect into an unknown omniversally vast future. There are much larger dramas happening in space than anything that could possibly happen on Earth. Less, although highly unlikely, humans are the only life in the omniverse capable of our reasoning abilities, and the omniverse or God really cares about our continuing to live, which, according to the instincts to survive, thrive, and procreate, appears to be true. Our sun is one of the most obvious examples of these larger dramas, yet still relatively minute compared to the unthinkable vastness of the omniverse/God. Becoming accepting of and peaceful with the inevitability of continuous and inherent biological, microbicide, bactericide, herbicide, insecticide, pesticide, animal deaths, aging and death of our loved ones and our bodies, will contribute to overall social harmony. We are all one within this atomically charged omniversal energy/spirit of God, and all that we are composed of has been and will remain one with the omniverse/God before, during and after life in our current form. This is not an acceptance letter for murder, killing for sport or trophy hunting, suicide, death through gross negligence, financial institutions' alignment with the military-industrial complex for war instigation and greed, religious-based wars and homicides, genocides, blatant environmental hazards and other chemical poisoning as with pesticides, tobacco, harmful drugs, and toxic preservatives, any other form of abuse, poison, or illness. Pain, murder, and abuse do matter in our personal and intimate lives and in the totality of the world we live in. As lovers of all things, we will not want to kill overtly, nor even be angry enough or ignorant enough to want to kill or harm the living or the so-called non-living, with the possible exception of survival or defense of loved ones or the defenseless, or it will be a violation, corruption, or disruption of our love. And yet when ours or our loved ones' time is up within our current bodies, we can learn to remain in love. When we love omniversally, we are not afraid to lose individual people, places, things, because we channel our love in every direction into omnipresence and have a multitude of people, places, and things to love wherever we go that change with each movement. We know that in the atomic energy or spiritual dimension, nothing ever dies. Because energy never dies or is apparently eternal and only changes forms, there is the possibility that science may discover eternal life for the human body by some chemical or nuclear process that taps into the eternal life of the energy within us. Eternal life is possible even through a positivistic view. The proposal of eternal life by religion is still within reason when viewed this way. In the meantime, let us live and die gracefully and afford the same freedom for others while being at peace with the fact that most life on this planet, including yours, will kill and use the lives of other living things every day to live, no matter how minutely.
All right, there's another cluster of chapters from The Will to Flower. I think we're going to have one more chapter, one more video on tech. That's the next. There's another half of the book after this with some more chapters. Uh, this will be looks like this is going to be a smaller video than I thought. Uh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pages, 7 pages. But anyway, there's a bunch of other chapters that I'm going to leave out of these videos unless there's some kind of popular demand. But beyond sex, there's division and unification, and a bunch of other chapters. But I'm not going to wade into those. They could present some issues that might be a little too controversial, and maybe even unnecessarily controversial. So I'm going to leave them out unless there's again some public outcry from some of the readers or listeners uh, make some kind of appeal for me to uh, put in a video or audio and video the remaining chapters. It's another half of the book. The end of the chapter on sex comes at 134. And the end of the book is 279 pages. Or maybe it's even more. Let's let's see. It's 283 pages. So we're going to end here at page 134. So there's over another 100, about 154 pages. But again, we're gonna move on. Just do one. Again, these videos may go unnoticed. Nobody may care, but I know people do care. I'll make some more videos. Or of this book, the rest of this book. I'm gonna probably make some more videos, but in some other topics or conversations. All right, so that's the end of that. Next video will be on sex.